And welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about planting out tomatoes. As you can see, I have filled in the center of my 55-gallon barrel halves with tomatoes. On one side I focused more on the slicer variety, and on the other side more of the paste. So I'm pretty sure I remember which order I planted them, so I'm going to share that with you. In this barrel I have the white Tomasol, which happens to be an off-white tomato. I grew last year and enjoyed it. It was different. And then I have Berkey's pink tie-dye in this barrel. Paul Robeson, and I think Berkey's pink tie-dye and Paul Robeson running together in these two barrels. And then I have Rutgers in this barrel, and then beginning on this barrel. And then the rest of these are Pink Fang, which is a paste tomato from Baker Creek heirloom seeds, and they're supposed to make fantastic marinara and salsas and things of that nature. The flavor's supposed to be incredible, so I thought I'd go ahead and give them a try. They're all indeterminates. That way I could grow them in a single vine up a cattle panel and grow a lot of tomatoes that way. Since I don't have a huge garden spreading out, my choice is to grow up. And the tomatoes will be quite close together. I may have to cull a few plants out, but last year I grew a bunch of tomatoes really close together and they turned out fine. So hopefully that happens again this year. So I should have went ahead and filmed while I was planting, but I already got into the momentum of the planting and after I thought about filming, and yeah, so this is the aftermath. Some of these plants are growing kind of funky, but that's just how they grew, so I'm letting them go. I'm going to give these plants away. They won't fit in my garden, and I always grow more than I need to, because if some die, then you got backups, right? So these are just the tomatoes that didn't make it into the garden bed. And so what I was going to talk about is these little hairs along the stem. If they touch dirt, they turn into roots. So it is very important to take your starter leaves off, which will be these two bottom ones. They'll start to turn yellow anyway and fall off on their own. But you could go ahead and just pluck them off. On this particular plant, I'm not going to, because it's only got that amount of leaves. But you see I took them off on this plant that's nice and tall. And anyway, you're going to want to bury them up to the next set of leaves. So I could even, if you got a taller one like this, you could even take this next set of leaves off and plant it even deeper. The deeper you get it in there, these hairs will turn into roots, like I said earlier, and it's going to be better nutrition uptake, making it a better, stronger, healthier plant with much more production, disease, and pest resistance. So that's very important, to always plant your tomatoes as deep as you can. This year I went ahead and planted in and composted horse manure, and I added some potash to it. And I planted my tomatoes deep, if you can see that. And I just covered it with some of the hay that was mixed in with the composted horse manure for the mulch. Now, I have calendula sowed in here and some herbs and other flowers. And so my goal is to maximize the space of these barrels while also giving me abundance of beauty, variation in things that I'm growing in one area. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Just, maximizing the space for what it is and trying to make the best out of this new garden. I'm so excited to finally have raised beds. And hay has probably got a lot of seed in it, but I don't mind coming through here and just bending over and pulling a weed out versus getting on my hands and knees doing weeding like I have been doing. So that's super exciting. This composted horse manure does seem to hold quite a bit of moisture to it, even with all my drainage holes underneath and on the bottom sides. And I'll go ahead and update the rest of my garden too while I'm out here. I found this kiddie pool in the yard, cleaned it out, drilled some drainage holes in it, planted more calendula transplants for my winter sowing, and I went ahead and sowed some bull's blood beets in them. Now in a couple days it's supposed to rain, and this composted horse manure is already pretty moist, so I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't get it watered in tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going to think about it a little bit more. I'll test the soil and see how it turns out and go from there. So that's a very small kid pool, but it's good enough for things like radishes and lesser daikons and beets and turnips, maybe even rutabagas, things that don't grow extremely deep. Bush peas would be another great idea to grow, and there are bush beans. So there's a lot of things you could do with a little $7 kiddie pool. Now I priced the bigger ones today. I went up to the Dollar General, and they're $20 for bigger kiddie pools. So I might do a mixture of small and big kiddie pools, 5-gallon buckets, whatever I can scavenge, obviously, for my garden. But the horse compost I got at my disposal for free. And this bucket, I can't remember what flowers I planted. So I guess that'll be a surprise for me too. I know I wanted to plant zinnias in one of these two, and marigolds. I just can't remember what else. It just kills me. So I have more calendula in here. This is Merlot lettuce, and I planted this and Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce in my winter sowing containers, and this was the best producer for me, the Merlot. So I'm going to try lettuce again this fall. I'll probably start it indoors and move it outdoors, or start it in a shadier, cooler spot of the yard. I think I have some sugar and snap peas starting to sprout up. Not quite sure yet, but I'm hoping. And I have my Japanese wasabi radishes germinating now. So obviously I'm going to have to go through and thin some of these out, but I'm excited. So I do have stuff growing in the garden, and it's just going to take piece by piece, bit by bit, and it's not all going to get done at once. And I don't expect to be done with my garden size this year that I want to plant. I have over 20 varieties of squash and melons. I don't have as many melons, but I do got quite a bit of squash. And obviously I want to grow it all and try it all and experience it. But I don't know if I'll be able to do that this year. I highly doubt it. But the seeds will be fine for at least 5 years before they start to go bad. So I can wait. I'll just start some more important ones this year, or ones that I really, really want to try, I guess, and save the rest of them. So that is my garden so far. I still have quite a bit of pool space area to fill in, and then some. I think if I do my winter squash, which is going to vine, I'm going to start it outside of the pool area. That way it could grow down into the clay, and I'm pretty sure there's plastic underneath the sand. So yeah, I would like them to be able to vine out where they can grow more roots in the ground. So I hope you enjoyed my tomato planting video and my garden update video, and I just appreciate you stopping by, and I just wanted to let you know that I love you, and so does Jesus. God bless.